Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. To get started, we're going to go over Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. I think that's appropriate. So, yeah, let's jump into it.
I'm excited for UFC 300. This is a stacked card, obviously. We got Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway for the BMF title. Great fight. It's going to be a banger for sure. It won't go the distance. I do see a knockout. Both these fighters are knockout potential to knock each other out. So realistically, I do see Justin Gaethje winning this fight. I think he needs this fight more. I think he needs this win more, just if he wants to fight or put up a fight with Islam Makhachev. He even said it. He doesn't have that much time, and this is a big fight for him. I mean, he does have the BMF title. I'm not going to discredit Max Holloway because Max Holloway is a great fighter as well. He has a chin. We've seen his recent fights. He won't go down. He won't get knocked out until, he just keeps fighting. He has the dog in him, and he just won't give up and back down. But I do see Justin Gaethje knocking him out or TKO.
Just to add a little bit more with onto what Danny said in regards to Max Holloway. So first of all, Max Holloway, I think it's been 5 years since he has been in the lightweight division. He's obviously a former featherweight champion, so he's jumping over to lightweight to fight Justin Gaethje. We know both fighters have pretty good chins. I think Max Holloway has a better chin in regards to this, just because I've seen Justin Gaethje knocked out a couple more times than I have Max Holloway. So, I think it's going to be a good fight. I know Max Holloway definitely gained some more weight, obviously, because he moved up a weight, but he's also looking a little bit more beefier. I don't know if you guys saw the weigh-ins, but there was actually a pretty funny and awkward video that obviously we can't show on YouTube, but
yeah, right. I saw that.
the towel incident.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's for the BMF title. It's going to be a good fight. I think, as much as I do like Max Holloway, I still think Justin Gaethje is going to take this W, just because he's also a certain percentage of he's Mexican, right? A little bit somewhere in there. But yeah, I'm going to say Justin Gaethje takes it.
Also, before Carlos or Leiko go, Islam did talk about he really doesn't want, if Max Holloway wins, he really doesn't see Max Holloway as an opponent for the belt. And I kind of do agree with him. Islam Makhachev is on another level right now. I think the best opponent for Islam right now is between Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, or Dustin Poirier. That's just my opinion. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting take. Obviously, this fight's going to determine. I feel like he's going to put a lot of pressure on who he needs to fight next, depending who wins, of course. But I mean, Leiko, Carlos, do you guys have anything else to say?
In regards to this fight? I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think both fighters are very well-rounded, very well-experienced. They have a lot of fights in their belt. And from that aspect, I think it's going to be very tactical because, again, like, these guys have been around the game for a long time. I'm sure they've seen each other fight numerous times. Gaethje is a 25-4. Max Holloway is 25-7. So very equal as far as like the number of fights. Obviously, Holloway has just three more fights than does Gaethje. They have the same amount of wins. Just going back to the point that both these guys are really seasoned. They're very smart. They have a lot of wisdom. They know what they're doing when it comes to mixed martial arts. And they're both also coming off a year which they didn't lose. I mean, Justin was 2-0 in 2023, and so was Max Holloway. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and say that Holloway will take this one. I feel like... I'm sorry?
I said, wow, that's shocker.
Yeah. And again, like, it could go either way. These guys are both very veterans and they're very well seasoned. So They obviously know what they're going to do, but I'm going to go ahead and take Max Holloway. I like the fact that he's moving up in weight and taking on this challenge. I feel like he's really got nothing to lose. And the guy's a warrior. And not saying that Justin isn't. Not saying that Justin is. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Justin knocks him out. But if I had to make a prediction, I would take Max Holloway over Justin Gaethje.
Will it go the distance or like
No,
TKO,
I don't.
knockout?
I think it'll be a knockout. And again, like it could go either way. I'm just gonna go with my gut and pick Max Holloway. I think they're both really good fighters. They're both pretty equal, around the same age, around the same height, and same with reach. But I'll take Max Holloway and in a knockout. Yeah.
I agree with Lego too. I think Max Holloway is gonna take it
Oh my god.
because Justin Gaethje likes to get cracked a lot because he fought Charles Oliveira. You remember we saw that fight together and he got cracked like multiple times. He got cracked. He got dropped, and that's how Charles Oliveira got that rear naked choke and choked him out for the title. And same thing with the other fights Justin Gaethje fought. Like Michael Chandler, he got cracked by him too, which Michael Chandler is not a striker. And I know he fought Dustin Poirier. He went with that nice leg head kick, and I believe that Max Holloway can knock some people down. I know he fought uh, Alexander Volkanovski 3 times, but I know he didn't win none of those 3 times. But I believe that Max Holloway is gonna take this. I think from a distance. I believe.
Wait, Carlos, you said Michael Chandler is not a striker.
No, he's a wrestler.
Are you sure about that?
Michael Chandler's a wrestler.
Are you sure?
He has a wrestling background.
Well, from his ESPN profile, he says Michael Chandler is indeed a striker.
Because look, Michael Chandler took down Justin Gaethje. Same thing with Dustin Poirier. Come on, name other strikers who can actually pick up a guy and drop him to the ground.
What is? Okay, whatever. Yeah, sure. I'm just reading the facts. Michael Chandler is a striker. That's just the way I see it. The first fight when he came into the UFC, debuted, all he was doing was striking. He was punching. So,
but to me, he's a wrestler because he has that wrestling background.
okay,
he can take guys down. He can take guys down.
Okay, well, I mean to you, but facts state that he's a striker indeed. So,
anyways, Max Holloway is gonna win, and from a distance. That's what I think. If I had to put my money on, I think Max Holloway is gonna take it. Especially now he looks more healthier. I know he's getting older now. He looks more healthier in the lightweight division.
Well, Max Holloway is the underdog, so we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a great fight. It is for the BMF title, and then this fight could determine the opponent of Islam Makhachev. So we'll see. Now moving on to, I believe the second, or actually the first fight, or I don't know how the order is, but moving into Charles Oliveira versus Arman. How do you say the last name again, boys? I don't want to bottle it.
Arman.
I forgot what Google Translate said, so I'm gonna just say Arman
Tsarukyan.
Tsarukyan.
Arman Tsarukyan. I'm sorry that I didn't know the last.
But Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan.
There we go.
And just to add, that fight does come before the Justin Gaethje Holloway fight.
So it's Charles Oliveira, then it's Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway, and then we got the co-main and then main. Okay.
So moving on. These are two, again, the Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway, then Charles Oliveira versus Arman. I'm just gonna say Arman. These are crucial fights because it's gonna determine Islam Makhachev's opponent. And whoever Dana puts, that's who Islam's going to fight. Charles Oliveira needs this win. He needs this win. I just believe that he really needs this win. He's going up against a talented fighter who is really good. He's 21-3. Charles Oliveira is 34-9. And this is a real test for Charles Oliveira. He backed out against Islam. Alex had to come in because of an injury. So this is a real test for him. He hasn't fought for so long. I believe that Charles Oliveira is going to beat Arman and going to shock the world. And my prediction It won't go the distance. I think Charles chokes him out. That's just the way I see it. It's gonna be a tight fight. It's gonna be a close fight as well. But Charles Oliveira, how I said it, needs this win in order for him to go up in the rankings and
when you
fight
say
Islam.
when you say shock, I mean, isn't Charles Oliveira he's not the underdog?
He is the underdog. The odds for this fight is Charles Oliveira is plus 180 and Arman is minus 220. So Charles is the underdog, and that's why I said I think he's gonna shock the world, and he's gonna prove why he's one of the best lightweight fighters in the world.
I mean, yeah, but when you go to the UFC rankings, Charles Oliveira is number 1 right after.
Oh, really? Oh, well.
Yeah, so that's why. And
then him being an underdog, like they're obviously the favorite is Arman, and he's a well-talented fighter, and he's moving up. And I feel like if he wins this fight, that puts him up for the title race.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, because it's the way the lightweight division is right now. It's obviously Islam as the champion. Then we got number 1 Charles Oliveira, number 2 Justin Gaethje, number 3 Dustin Poirier, and then we got number 4 Arman Tsarukyan. So he's number 4. So yeah, I mean, technically, if he beats Charles Oliveira, which you're saying he's the favorite, then that's how it would go. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, personally, I think Charles Oliveira is going to win. I didn't even think he was the underdog. I thought he was the favorite, but I'm putting my money on Charles Oliveira. I wouldn't bet on Arman. Yeah, I mean, obviously this fight decides who gets that title shot, right? So it's a big fight, and a lot of fighters are also going to be fucking kicking each other's asses because there's also like a $300K bonus on the line that Dana White was saying, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be more knockouts this card just because of what Dana White said, and they're both fighters are gonna put pressure amongst themselves that they're gonna have to get a knockout, and that's gonna cost a lot of fighters because it's like, okay, the bonus is on the line. Like obviously there's a 300 bonus, and they want it. It's like they're gonna create, or how do I say this? Pretty much going into a fight, they might make a mistake that's going to cost them the match, whatever fight it is. So, I mean, it's good, but then again, fighters have to be more cautious because one mistake could define the fight.
Yeah, and I also want to mention just in this video and obviously the next, because we are doing a second UFC video with the main event, but they are switching up the glove colors. I thought that was pretty fun to see, where regular fights are going to be obviously the regular black and white colors, and then for championship fights it's going to be gold.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I did look at the video of the technology and whatnot that goes into the gloves, flexibility and all that stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's good for the UFC.
It's different, so I mean, I like that they're trying out different shit. But yeah.
Okay, I have a question for Leko, or all three of you.
Yeah.
So we talked about Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. Now we're talking about Charles Oliveira versus Arman. These are 2 lightweight bouts. Who do you put to face Islam? Who deserves it more? Out of all these 4 fighters, whoever wins, who deserves to face Islam?
That's a good question.
Who deserves it, or who would make the best matchup against Islam?
I mean, you can say both. I mean, we can say both. But, I mean, who deserves it more? That's my question that I'm curious that you guys answer. Who deserves that match more, or title bout more?
Okay, I'll go ahead first. Out of those 2 fights, just because of the rankings that I'm going by and that I'm seeing, I'm going to say Charles Oliveira.
Why is that?
Because he's number 1 in the lightweight.
Okay.
In the lightweight division.
That's fair.
I mean, it's like, obviously Justin Gaethje is in there. He's number 2. But, I mean, Max Holloway isn't even on this in this ranking in the lightweight division.
Because
Exactly, because he's jumping up, and it's been 5 years since he was last in the lightweight division. So I'm just going, again, I'm looking at the lightweight division.
You're going based on rankings.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how I operate. I think that's what makes everything. That's what makes sense to me. So I'm going to say Charles Oliveira.
Okay, Carlos.
I think Charles Oliveira, in my opinion, because he was a champion. He defended it 4 times. Well, I know against Islam, he lost to Islam, but he fought Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Michael Chandler. To me, it's just like you fought like back then, like 2021, they were like the top 5 in the lightweight division. So I believe Charles Oliveira will be a better matchup with Islam again. But to me, I don't think they should fight in Abu Dhabi. They should fight here in Las Vegas. My opinion. That's what I think.
And just to add on really quick, I feel like Charles Oliveira, since he lost in UFC 280 against Islam, I feel like he's been just trying to get back to get that fucking rematch.
Right.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
That's why the other fighter has nothing to lose. That's the way I see this fight. The other one has nothing to lose, really.
Right.
I mean, he's still in the rankings. He still has a great record. This is Charles Oliveira's last shot, I believe, at a title. That's just the way I see it.
No, yeah. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, Carlos, you want to say something before I go?
Do you know what this fight reminds me of? It reminds me of Dustin Poirier versus Benoit.
Okay.
It reminds me of that fight because, like, think about it. Justin Poirier, he lost against Justin Gaethje. Everyone thought like, oh, his time is up. Get new legs in that top 5. That's why Dustin Poirier fought Benoit, and everyone thought that Benoit was gonna kill Dustin Poirier, this and that. This is the fight. This fight with Charles Oliveira versus Arman reminds me of Dustin Poirier versus Benoit.
Okay, Carlos. Well, look, to that point, I do think that Dustin Poirier was losing that fight before he knocks Benoit out. So
you think so?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but I thought that in that fight he was losing it before he knocks him out. Like Benoit was too reckless, too careless, and he ended up getting caught clean, and he couldn't get back up. But as far as this fight goes, I'll go ahead and say that the biggest differentiating factor I can see amongst Arman and Charles Oliveira is the age. Charles Oliveira is 34, and Arman Tsarukyan is 27. So there is a 7-year age gap here where maybe potentially Arman can exploit it and use that to his advantage. I will go ahead and say that if I had to guess on who's going to win, I'll take Charles Oliveira. He's one of those like rare guys where he has like insane punching power, insane strength, but he's also really good on the ground. And you wouldn't want to get into a grappling match with him on the ground. Definitely not, because he'll probably take you out in a matter of minutes. So again, I think the only thing Arman has going for him is that he's younger. He's 21-3. He's fairly new. And the other thing I'd have to say is like, who has he beat? Like, he hasn't beat anyone, in my opinion, noteworthy enough to say that he's got all these noteworthy names that he's been able to beat. And that for that reason, again, I think the wisdom and experience of Charles Oliveira will prevail, and he will come out on top against Arman Tsarukyan.
Anything else you guys got to say?
No, I'm good.
All right. Pretty much those are 2 big fights for tomorrow night at UFC 300. We're excited for this card. It's supposed to be one of the greatest cards in UFC history, and we'll see what happens. 4 fighters destined for the lightweight heavyweight champion of the world, and we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining in.